ajnanam-agyanatimirandhasya jnananjana-shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I will speak on Sri Gaurashtaka, composed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's a very beautiful poem in praise of the Guru. I was thinking for some days I'd like to speak about this, and then I thought this is a suitable occasion for doing so, on the occasion when we are initiating devotees into the sampradaya of gurus who are specifically endowed with these qualities which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes. This song of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it can only apply to gurus in the Gauriya Sampradaya. Some of the descriptions, they are more broadly generic for all Vaishnava gurus, but some are specifically for Gauriyas. And this is composed in Sanskrit poetry. It's we have the translation given here in English and in your Czech songbook also. But if we can appreciate in the original language, then we can appreciate more its profundity, beauty, and subtlety. Of course, I don't know Sanskrit, but most of the great majority of Gauriya kirtans or poems are in Sanskrit or Bengali. Some also in Oriya, Maithili, Brajbuli, Hindi. Maithili. That's Mithila's where Sita comes from. Mithila. And then there's Maithili. So there's then Brajbuli also. Brajbuli, the další. That's a language. It's a language used by poets in the Vrindavan area. It's not the same as the Brij Bhasha which is spoken. It's specifically for poetry. So anyway, I have some knowledge of Bengali, which is very similar to Sanskrit. The vocabulary, especially the language that Gauriyas use. So that's the vocabulary is the same to a large extent. But a major difference is that Sanskrit grammar is very complex, whereas Bengali grammar is very simple. So both of these languages are very suitable for expressing loving feelings toward Krishna. And they both have their... Sanskrit, by being complex, is able to express in a certain way. And Bengali, by being simple, is able to express in a certain way. And English is a crippled language as far as this is concerned. These topics are concerned. I would guess that Czech is also. But anyway, Krishna Bhakti is not dependent upon language, and Srila Prabhupada has purified this condemned English language by translating his books into that language. But certainly certain languages are better for different functions. There was one king of Spain who said that I speak, German to a dog? I can't remember something like Russian to a horse, French to a woman, and he was a Spanish king. He said Spanish to God. So the language that Krishna uses is Sanskritam and the Prakrita, bridge language. Prakrita, it means, what does it mean? How do you say? It means like the local colloquial dialect, you could say. Dialect. Nebo, jak tomu říká češtině? There's no, nářečí. So this particular prayer is very, very beautiful, and if we know the words and the meaning, and every morning we sing it with this tune, and It's the most perfect way to begin the day, seeing the deities. I remember the first time I came to a temple, I was forced by nature to stay overnight. Maya dakshena prakriti. Nature is under the control of Krishna. So, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and taking a cold shower. I mean, I was just a guest, but there's no mercy for guests in those days. Although actually it was mercy.
A ve skutečnosti to byla milost, největší milost.
So I was there at 4:30 in the morning in the temple room and listening to this. Of course I didn't understand anything, but the singing was so beautiful. Some same tune, but there's some little let me see, some tune they don't, the same tune as we sing now, but of course, but just some Chana Vanigurush Chana Vindam. At the end of each 2 lines they would sing like this. So most enchanting. In the Christian tradition, of course, there's also very beautiful music in praise of God. Nowadays there's techno rock. They came a long way down. So let us revive the theistic cultural traditions. Here the first verse, we can look out the window and get some idea of what it's talking about. It's talking about rain of mercy. As an interesting, it's interesting that from this verse it's understood that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur understood that rain comes from the ocean. Without modern scientific query, he knew about that. What's the word for rain?
Deszcz.
Oh, I heard you say varshi.
Deszcz.
That's something else. No, okay. Because varsha is the word. One word for rain in Sanskrit. So, he gives the well-known example of Samsara davanala. This means the forest fire of material life. There are many metaphors given for material life. Now this is a common one, that it's like a forest fire. Because the forest fire happens without any apparent reason. Nowadays some vandal might go and start a fire deliberately. But normally that would happen just by chance, it seems. In the heat of summer, everything is completely dry, no rain for days, only hot, day and night. You can't imagine unless you live through it. The heat of the Indian summer. So the forest becomes very dry. Then if there's, especially if there's bamboo, because the bamboo, it grows up very close. One bamboo will be growing up in a cluster, all close together. So due to the wind blowing the top of at the top there's some foliage. So that will catch the top of the tree, and then down below 2 trunks of bamboo, or it's not really a trunk, 2 sticks of bamboo will be rubbing against each other again and again and again in a hot, dry atmosphere. Then it becomes hot and hotter and hotter, and then some fire may be generated. And in a hot, dry forest, you can imagine that very soon if there's fire, that will spread very quickly. And all the animals will try to flee, but usually the forest fire spreads so quickly, so quick and so devastating that they're simply killed. So the example is given that this material existence is like a forest fire. Apparently without any real reason, it just, people are always Samsara davanala lidha. Lidha means afflicted or oppressed by. So it seems that everything should be nice. Why is there so much suffering? But there is. It's the nature of the material world. Loka means the people who are afflicted by the forest fire of material life. So to deliver them, pranaya, he brings the mercy. Karanya, mercy. Then cloud, ghana aghana, means very dense. Very, very dense. When the water becomes all collected together, that becomes a cloud. Showering the rain from the clouds of mercy. Who is like a cloud showering the rain of mercy. And where does this water of mercy come from? Praptasya, one who has obtained. Kalyana gunarnavasya, of one who is like an ocean. Arnava means ocean. So an ocean of kalyana guna, of auspicious qualities. So this is Krishna. Krishna is an ocean of auspicious qualities. So when we say Guru's mercy, it actually means Krishna's mercy received through the Guru. Although it may be that the Guru is even more liberal in distributing it than Krishna himself. The ocean is there, but the cloud collects the water and distributes it. So Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda, offering obeisances at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. And we'll find that in all the verses, almost all the verses, this ending is there, asya. So this means of one who has such qualities. So in this verse it's described that offering respects at the lotus feet. Charana means feet and Aravinda means lotus. Aravinda is lotus. So here it's offering respects at the lotus feet of one who is just like a cloud of mercy, distributing water from the ocean of mercy, from the ocean of auspicious qualities, and thus delivering the persons who are afflicted by the blazing fire of material life. So the next verse refers to Mahaprabhu Kirtan, the Kirtan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's Bhakti Thakur, who's also one of the most superb among the many, many Vaishnava poets. Is practically the whole, everything about Krishna consciousness is in Bhakti Thakur's songs, from the very beginning philosophy up to the very highest level. So he also, in one important phrase which he has given, he refers to Gaura Vihita Kirtan, a kirtan that is approved by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this verse describes that the offering obeisances to the spiritual master, who in kirtan, glorifying Mahaprabhu, kirtan means kirtan glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or the kirtan introduced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So by dancing, singing, and playing musical instruments, his mind is very pleased by the emotions, the feelings generated by doing so. And thus, Nritya means dancing, Gita means singing, Vaditra means playing musical instruments. So Romancha, the hairs of his body is standing on end. Kampa means trembling. Ashru Taranga means crying in waves, tears flowing like waves. So one who is experiencing this ecstasy in kirtan, he is offered respects by Srila Vishwanath Thakur. So that is the Bhagavad path of kirtan, and the spiritual master also engages in the Pancharatric path of deity worship, which is Sri Vigraha Aradhana, worshipping the deities. Nitya means daily, Sri Vigraha Aradhana Nitya. Then Nana Shringa, he offers various dresses, ornaments, and Tan Mandira Marjan, cleaning the temple, and all other related services. He is thus engaged and engages his disciples also. Such a spiritual master is offered obeisances to. So Chatur Vidha Shri Bhagavat Prasadaha, 4 kinds of prasad foodstuffs offered to the Lord. Lehya, chusha, charvya, and what's that word for chewed? I'm not remembering now. That which is chewed, sucked, licked and drunk. So, a very scientific analysis. So, swadu, very tasteful. The Lord should be offered very nice food. He becomes very satisfied to see how Krishna is satisfied by being offered very nice foods. And honors that in the association of devotees. In the association of devotees, sees how devotees are offering nice foods to Krishna and distributing that. Actually, in the Vaishnava system, the offering is supposed to be most complete when you start the offering maybe a few months before. Start making the offering a few months before. Can you imagine? How can you do that? Any idea? Well, first of all, you grow the vegetables and everything. So here you have a good opportunity. Some might say, call you and say, I can't come, I'm busy, I'm preparing the offering for next Gaur Purnima. Prabhupada often used to say that at our farm projects that we should only offer to the Lord and respect that which is produced right here on the land. And actually that's most tasty and nourishing. And you can say how pleasing it is to offer to Krishna the food that you've grown very nicely for His satisfaction. What do you think? What do you say? Is it? It's not that it is the same satisfaction. Here's the word is given, satisfaction. The same satisfaction is not had from buying something with no flavor and no nourishment, wrapped up in some plastic. So, the spiritual master gets great satisfaction from seeing how the Lord is worshipped nicely by nice foodstuffs and how they're distributed among the devotees and others. Shri Radhika Madhavayorapa. Yeah, actually you have to read it or sing it all in one line and you can appreciate the beauty of the poetry. Shri Radhika Madhavayorapa. This is the unlimited of Radhika and Madhava. So what is unlimited? Unlimited here means apa, means without any end. It means without para means like a boundary. So there's no boundary. You can go on and on and on, deeper and deeper into it, and you think, when are we going to reach the end? There is no end. Everything now I've come to the end of Krishna consciousness. There's no further to go. There's no such point. Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Nam. The qualities, the very sweet pastimes, qualities, forms and names. Pratikshan, at every moment. Asvadana lolupasya, again lolupasya, of one who. So one who is very eager to taste the sweetness of Radhika and Madhava's unlimited pastimes, qualities, forms and names. So to such a spiritual master he's offering this. Of course, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is himself such a spiritual master. He is Chakravarti, he is an emperor of poets, of those the poets describing the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And continuing with the same thing, Nikunjayo Naha, the divine couple who perform their pastimes in the forest bowers of Vrindavan Dham. Those pastimes are specifically Rati Keli, they're playful sports of love affairs. Rati means strong attachment, especially in sexual attachment. But this is not mundane sexual attachment. Siddhai, this is the topmost perfection. Ya ya alibi yukti. He's assisting the gopis in whatever different, so many different elaborate arrangements are made by the gopis for the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. The spiritual master in his original Swarup, in that original Vrindavan, is very expert in assisting the gopis and is very dear to them for assisting them in their service to Radha and Krishna. So Prabhupada explained that about this verse doesn't apply to every guru, but particularly those who are in the Manjari Bhav, those who are in their original forms, gopis assisting Radha and Krishna. Gopis assisting other gopis in serving Radha and Krishna, which is the central focus of our Sampradaya. But not all devotees in their perfected state are gopis. Sakshad haridvena samasta shastraya uktasthata bhavyata eva sarvihi. All the scriptures declare that the Guru is as good as God, and all the scriptures, all the sadhus, they all say the same thing. Nevertheless, he is also understood to be not as good as God, not that he is God, but as good as. There's a difference between being the same as and as being as good as. So that's quite a position. By becoming humbler than a blade of grass, one is elevated by Krishna to the most exalted position. So the first verse describes the Kalyana Guna, all the auspicious qualities of which are brought from the ocean, and the next 6 verses describe some of the symptoms and effects of that rain of the ocean of mercy, rain of the ocean of auspicious qualities. So for those who have the purified intelligence to appreciate it, what is being offered is from beyond this material world. The rain is coming from beyond the forest fire. It requires great mercy to even have the desire to appreciate the gifts of the acharyas in the Gauriya Sampradaya. Even great acharyas like Ramanuja and Madhva, they cannot appreciate all of these verses of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So it requires great mercy to be able to appreciate and accept these gifts. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Yasya prasada, by his mercy,
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Dalajika Yasya prasada,
from his mercy. Then his mercy is equivalent to Bhagavat prasadaha, the mercy of Bhagavan Krishna. But Yasya aprasad, if he's by not getting his mercy, or if he's dissatisfied. That's why it's important to sing Yasya prasada Bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasada nagati. Yasya prasada means by his mercy, and Yasya prasada means by not getting his mercy. So make sure you pronounce it properly. Yasya prasada nagati katopi, by his non-mercy or by his dissatisfaction, one has no hope of achieving the goal. No position, nothing, finished. So don't sing Yasya prasada nagati kato. By his mercy, there's no hope. Don't sing that. As it makes a lot of difference between saying between saying and It's a complete opposite. So nagati kato pi api, even though, in spite of. This means that even if one chants 64 rounds a day and fasts fully on Ekadashi and does all kinds of endeavors in devotional service, if somehow or other if one displeases the spiritual master, then all of this is like offering ghee into ashes. So the point is being made that this is essential to have the mercy of the spiritual master. It's the essential factor in one's devotional advancement. Therefore, Dhayam stuvam tasya yashastri sandhyam. At 3 junctions of the day, it's sunrise, sunset, and when the sun is at the zenith, one should meditate upon and praise His glories. This is particularly done by chanting of the Gayatri, of the Guru mantras in the along with the Brahma Gayatri and other Pancharatric mantras. Those who are Brahmin initiated, they chant. So this beautiful prayer is chanted by Gauriyas daily, early in the morning, in the particular tune suitable for that time of day. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that, describing this song, Shri Gurvashtakam Epaduchai, whoever chants this loudly, Brahma Muhurte Padati Prayatnat, who very carefully recites and loudly recites this prayer in the Brahma Muhurta. Shri Vrindavananath Sakshad Seva. The service, direct service to Krishna in Vrindavan is attained by such a person upon quitting his body.
On dosáhne takové služby.
Immediately after quitting his body, he attains this. So this is very beautiful prayer, and I think among all the many, many beautiful prayers that our acharyas have given us, myself, I think for me this is the most beautiful. It's difficult to say because there's so many beautiful prayers, but this is my favorite. Prabhupada said that we sung last night this Hari Hari Bifale Janamagawainu. Prabhupada said this is his favorite kirtan. So while being faithful to one's guru, one may have certain differences of taste also. If his favorite preparation is halava, doesn't mean that yours has to be halava. To follow the spiritual master doesn't mean that one becomes like a factory product. There's a difference between following, capturing the essence, and imitating. So we say the spiritual master, but it's not like... Well, in the early stages it might be something like being in an army. There's so many rules and regulations to follow. But ultimately, Krishna consciousness is the ultimate freedom, where one is, out of love for Krishna, one doesn't consider anything else except how to please Krishna. So we hear people talking about express yourself, be yourself, but they don't know who they are. So when they express themselves, they simply express lust, anger and greed. It's something like a child expressing themselves. Just make a big egoistic noise. This traditional music, even in the West, was meant for the glorification of God. It's very, very beautiful. And the forgetting God, express yourself, comes when you get down to the level of techno rock, where there's no subtlety, there's no beauty, there's no love, it's just raw egoism, that's all. So Krishna conscious means actually to discover who we are. And Krishna loves us, He loves us as individuals, we're all individual. And the pleasure that Krishna gets from every living being is different from... it's all different. That gives more and more variety of pleasure to Krishna. So in Krishna's service, different devotees have different tastes. One consideration is duty. Duty is never to be given up. One has a duty to serve Krishna and Guru and Krishna. But a higher principle than duty, even though duty is never to be given up, but a higher principle is love. So one is to serve the spiritual master like a slave, Bhagavatam says. The brahmachari serves like a slave. Brahmachari guru kule vasandanto gurur hitan acharan dasavan nicho. Dasavan nicho means like a very menial servant. But why is that, or how is that? Guru sudrida sodridham. One serves like that out of a sense of very strong affection. So we say spiritual master, but the principle is not one of that one person wants to dominate over another, but that out of love wants to guide. So from this kirtan of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we don't find any mood of oppressiveness, but charming, loving demons. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Is there any question about this? Yeah, please.
If somebody is influenced by the lust, anger, greed, so
just suppose.
Okay, so for him it's not possible to know God. Why is like that?
Why is it like that? Because these lust, anger and greed they cover our actual vision. God can be seen by eyes of love. Where there's lust, anger and greed, there's selfishness, not love. That covers our loving propensity. It's not understandable. We can see, but not appreciate. Physically, some impression may be on the retina, which is recognized within the brain and or processed within the brain or within the mind and transferred to the consciousness. But we may see Krishna, but we may not see Krishna. We see Krishna, but we don't see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We think this is my enemy, or my competitor, or an insignificant person. When Krishna entered the wrestling arena of Kamsa in Mathura, everyone, so many spectators, they all saw him. The wrestlers saw him like a thunderbolt. The Vrishnis saw him as the most exalted member of their dynasty. The young women saw him as Cupid personified. The yogis saw him as the super soul. And people of stupid people, with no particular affiliation to Krishna, they thought, well, just another person. Kamsa saw him, here's my death, come. So they all saw Krishna, but according to the degree that they were covered with lust, anger and greed, they failed to recognize him as their best friend and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada said when he was installing the deities of Sri Sri Rukmani Dwarkadish in Los Angeles, he said that Krishna has come because he wants to talk to you. But we cannot talk to him as long as our hearts are not pure. As long as we think that the deity is just made of stone or brass, then he will remain to us, we'll perceive as stone or brass, a statue. But if our hearts become purified, then Krishna, this Krishna, will speak with us. Hare Krishna. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Diya, Vishta, Eshav, Nachare, Kishe, Pavinata, Krishna. As long as our hearts are covered by lust, anger, or actually here the term is given, absorbed. As long as we are absorbed in lust, anger, greed, illusion, and all other bad qualities, then how can we attain to Radha Krishna? It's not possible. It should be an easy thing to understand. If we're in contaminated consciousness, then how can we understand God? You think you should understand God with contaminated consciousness? Eat a hamburger, drink a beer, and then go to meet God. Actually, I remember as a child, I always used to think that was really incongruous. That we'd go to church on Sunday, and then everyone would come out, and all the men would immediately go over the road to the pub or the bar, and smoke and drink. I remember even as a child thinking, well, it's kind of strange. It doesn't seem to fit properly. What do you think? Think you'll find God in the bar? You go to the bar for a specific purpose. What's the purpose? To socialize, with persons who like to drink and smoke, and they usually, in the bars, they have some, what's this pool or something. It's a kind of socializing and not very high cultural level. But you go to the bar to cultivate a certain kind of bhav or feeling, and you come to the temple to cultivate another kind of feeling. But if we're really serious about cultivating the feeling and it's in the temple, then we can't ever go to the bar and cultivate that kind of feeling, because it's totally opposite to that which is to be cultivated in the temple. And actually, after singing these prayers, if we're actually thinking what it means, we should be just floating. We should be transported to a higher level of consciousness. This Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, by giving us this song, he's taking our hands and come, pulling us up. So after singing these songs, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we should be floating on a higher level. Right? We shouldn't just be mundane, talking some mundane things. It means by singing this, we should try to enter into the same mood, get on that same wavelength. Is there any other question? Yeah. You go in the bars sometimes? You're going in bars sometimes, distributing?
Yes, yesterday I distributed one book in pub.
It's always a bit of an experience. You never know what's going to happen. Sometimes people, when they're drunk, they're in a good mood, and they're not so drunk in the morning. Usually, depends where you are. In Czech, we don't have fishermen on the coast. Country, then often in the mornings even you'll find the fishermen, because they're only in port for a few days, and they have to use all the time they can.
Here also on bus stops there is pubs.
So you find the fishermen I remember in school we were studying sociology, and we're describing fishermen. They come from the ship and they drink all day, and then I remember I said to the teacher, this is just rubbish. Just, talking about fishermen coming and getting drunk, and they put all these long, big words on it. They use all these big sociological terms to describe fishermen getting drunk. The teacher agreed. Yeah, he said, it's rubbish. He agreed, it's rubbish. But you have to study it to get your exam. What was your question?
What does it mean that the words of Guru and his mission should become our life and soul?
Guru Mukha Padmavakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Harna Kori Homanayasha. That's what you're referring to. Well, it means what it says. Nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. It means that's it. There's nothing else. No more anything else. What's not understood about it? It's clear, isn't it? It's not elliptical language. It's very straightforward. Sometimes there's a problem when someone says something very straightforwardly and then you just interpret it to mean something else. And Prabhupada said this, but actually he meant something else. That can be very dangerous, because then you can interpret it any way you like. So then, no. One more question?
He's asking in which mood we should sing this Gurvashtaka prayer in the morning, because some devotees prefer to sing it like quickly to not fall to sleep, and some others prefer to sing it very slowly.
You must be pretty tired if you're going to fall asleep standing up. Once in Mayapur, devotees they sang Mangaladi. They started off really, wild, and Prabhupada sent a message to slow down, cool down. Generally, kirtan, traditionally, Prabhupada also sang like this. You start off slow and sweet, and then gradually the tempo increases. The mood of this kirtan is very meditational, reverential, and sweet. So it would seem that singing it slowly in a reverential mood is more appropriate to the words, the message of the song. That's why I don't like this, putting all this kirtan to rock music. This heavy rock. Krishna, kirtan, God. It's just so inappropriate. It's rasa. It should be sweet. And kirtan sometimes wild also. But that should develop naturally out of feelings generated from the kirtan, not simply because someone ate too much chilies or something like this. There are many moods in bhakti, but the specific kirtans, it's good if we try to understand what is the mood that is being given by the acharya who has presented this kirtan.